All right, first things first. Congratulations to Harbaugh. Wasn't about to go live during that game. I know a lot of people were probably watching Michigan seal the win against Ohio State. The suspension is over for the former 49ers and Stanford coach. The Big Ten championship game is next. That was crazy. That was a good one. That was a good way to pass the time until the next NFL games. Now we have a full slate on Sunday, including Buffalo and Philadelphia. And then, of course, the 49ers and the Eagles a week from tomorrow. All right, we're talking about the 49ers special teams needing some juice while George Odom is hurt and out. Darrell Luter Jr. is probably giving that to them. And Brock Purdy, his elite escapability. There is a couple examples of mind-blowing athleticism that the 49ers have shown. And, well, why don't we start with Purdy's? We're going to go to Darrell Luter Jr. in just a little bit. But have a look at this. Brock Purdy for the 49ers with the escape from pressure and the dime downfield to George Kittle. Now, good play from the Seahawks to force him out of bounds. But I'll tell you what, there are probably 3 quarterbacks in the NFL who can escape from this type of immediate pressure. And Brock Purdy is gaining ground. I mean, Brock Purdy is opening up space in between him and the rushers. Thanks to Coach Yak for this video. Good job slowing it down just in time so you could see how good that throw was from Brock Purdy. But again, Leonard Williams busted through, beat 49ers right guard John Feliciano in the snap of a finger instantaneously. So Brock Purdy is the system here. And by the system, I mean a quarterback overcoming poor pass protection to give the 49ers an opportunity downfield. There is athleticism here. There is arm strength here. There are physical tools on this play that very few quarterbacks in the NFL have. I want to rewind just a little bit so you can see how quickly Leonard Williams, watch him working against right guard John Feliciano, got onto Brock Purdy. That's poor pass protection, and that's a hell of a burst. This type of pressure that I paused right here would derail 90% of quarterbacks in the league right here. It'd be a sack immediately if you're lucky. If you're not lucky and the quarterback panics, it could be a turnover-worthy play. But Purdy has an elite 10-yard burst. In fact, Purdy's 10-yard burst is only 1/100th of a second different than Lamar Jackson's. Yes, I'm not kidding right now. Brock Purdy, his 10-yard split of the 40-yard dash is the same speed as Lamar Jackson's. And you have to have an elite 10-yard burst to get away from Leonard Williams here and gain ground as you're running away. Then you have to have a strong arm to be able to hit George Kittle. Now, of course, Kittle was forced out. That's a good play for the Seahawks, but that was awesome from Brock Purdy. That play right there is why Brock Purdy is right here on this chart. I mean, this is at 40 pass protection is on the x-axis. Further to the left means you're behind worse pass protection. Further up, you're more efficient. Brock Purdy is an outlier on the top left. Well, why? Because he is able to deliver plays like the one that I just showed you, like this play right here. Poor pass protection, elite escapability, plus arm strength. That's a 35-yard throw on a line to George Kittle. Unfortunately for the 49ers, the Seahawks made a great play on it. But this wasn't the only time in this game that Purdy showed elite escapability. I could actually pull up one more, I think, right away here for you if you want to see Brock Purdy just, I mean, it really is something. Here we go. Watch this one. This is Purdy rolling to the right again. This is his strong side to roll out. This is a Colton McKivitz loss up front for the 49ers. And this time Purdy went for Jawan Jennings. Obviously, the throw didn't work as well, but we're talking about the escapability right now. We're talking about the arm strength. I just don't think that Purdy and Jennings were on the same page. Darrell Taylor, spin move on the left side. I paused it there. He's going to get around Colton McKivitz. Let me rewind a little bit. Watch right tackle. Watch 52 to edge rusher there. Whoop, spin move. Purdy has to bail. Leonard Williams is tracking him, but Purdy's got that elite burst to get around and then step up field, throw on the run. And I don't think that Jennings and him are on the same page because that ball was catchable if Jennings goes straight back. So when you look at the 10-yard burst metric and you're surprised by how good it is, well, just watch the tape. And the 10-yard burst for Purdy, which is 155, that 10-yard burst shows up on the tape right here. Look at this sprint. Again, you could probably count the amount of quarterbacks who could run that line without getting hit on one hand in the NFL. So that kind of tape is what creates these kinds of results. Brock Purdy is an outlier. The people who said that he was physically limited are flat out wrong. The tape doesn't agree with you. The metrics don't agree with you. Nothing agrees with you. Brock Purdy is elite, period. So anyway, Darrell Luter Jr., speaking about speed, Darrell Luter Jr. is a dude. Look at this speed. 49ers on kick coverage against the Seattle Seahawks. Luter starts on the far right. Far right, he's going to cross the field and catch D. Eskridge with some long strides. I mean, Darrell Luter ran a good 100 yards on this play. Again, Darrell Luter starting way up there. Coach Yak again posted this up on Twitter. There you could see Darrell Luter circled on the top right. Now watch his path on this play. This is a rookie out of South Alabama. So he's running a good, at this point, he's already run a good 50 yards, and he's still got 50 yards to go because now he's going to catch D. Eskridge from behind with a diving stop. That prevented a touchdown on Seattle's first kick return. This is a 5th-round pick that was just activated from the PUP list, physically unable to perform. So Luter's a defensive back for the 49ers. This right here, though, this kind of speed, this means he's a dude. This means that he's a guy who has plus athleticism for the NFL level, which is saying something because everybody on these NFL teams was the best guy on their college team. Most of these guys were the fastest guys on their college team. And Darrell Luter Jr., as a 5th-round rookie, is catching one of the fastest players on the Seahawks, their kick returner, downfield. Now, I don't have to even mention how big of a play this was for the 49ers because special teams was the only thing that was going to potentially keep Seattle in this game. The 49ers lost George Odom to a torn biceps in this game. Odom led the entire NFL in special teams tackles last season and was ranked number 2 this year. So the 49ers are going to need some juice on special teams with George Odom out. Darrell Luter Jr. might be the player who can give that to them. The 49ers have an elite offense. They have an elite defense. It's the special teams that entered this game against Seattle, ranked number 25 in the league. And special teams can often fall through the cracks for a really good football team because some of that depth that is key for special teams. Some of that depth is a little bit more focused on the offensive and defensive sides of the football. But guys like Luter, he can focus on special teams. And the speed that you saw on this play right here, well, you also saw it here from Brock Purdy, but we'll toss Luter onto the screen in just a second. That's Purdy's speed. Here's Luter's speed. The speed that you saw on this kick play, this kickoff coverage play, that definitely means that the 49ers have a guy who can improve their coverage units. And their coverage units, especially their kick coverage unit, are what have been struggling. The punt coverage unit also struggled the week prior against Tampa Bay. So, mind-blowing athleticism from a pair of players, Darrell Luter Jr. and Brock Purdy. Speaking of Purdy, Black Friday sale going on right now in The Athletic. The $1 a month sale for the next 12 months. So you can go ahead and check out the Purdy Christian McCaffrey origin story. It is linked in the description. Let's take a look at a couple questions, and then we will go back to enjoying our Saturday. Well, you can fill the Odom void immediately if he continues playing well on special teams. Don't discount how difficult it is between the angles and the tackling ability to consistently deliver on special teams. George Odom was a special teams all-pro back in Indianapolis before he signed with the 49ers. It was a big part of the reason they brought him in, maybe the primary part of the reason that they brought him in. He helped their special teams unit a lot last year. He was helping it a lot this year, but Odom probably done for the season, so they're going to need somebody else to deliver that kind of impact. And Luter definitely has the physical tools to do it, but you also have to have just the football wherewithal to do it. You have to be a little insane to do this on a football field. Sprint down with a full head of steam while the other team is sprinting up with a full head of steam. All these guys right here running across the field with Luter going the fastest on the very right because he has the most ground to cover. there has to be some disregard for your personal safety to do this. It's the most dangerous play in football. There's a reason why the NFL is trying to legislate some of these kick returns out of the game because they are, potential for high injuries. But if you've got that dude mentality, if you have that dude athleticism, you can deliver something like we saw from Darrell Luter in this game. Here's a comment: if Trey is starting, this offense probably can't stay on the field. Missed reads, bad throws, 3-and-outs. Then you'll hear that Shanahan's play calling is horrendous. Well, yeah, I don't think Trey Lance was missing as many reads as much as he was just not mechanically throwing the ball well. So that portion. And thank you, by the way, for the comment. But that portion of things, I think, was the biggest problem with Trey Lance, the mechanical issue. He wasn't able to hit those gimme throws, and Brock Purdy is essentially perfect on the gimme throws. He actually missed one against Seattle, and that turned into the pick six. But I'm still trying to figure out if it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. Have I had a chance to see the all 22 on the throw to Ayuk in the end zone? Yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to break that down here over the next couple days. That was the right throw to make as Ayuk was in one-on-one. Ayuk was in the middle of a four-man zone. I wouldn't call it one-on-one. He was in a tiny pocket, but there was good coverage. But it was the right throw to make, provided that the throw was perfect. And Purdy did deliver a perfect throw. Go for Broke says, to be absolutely honest, Purdy's success isn't just about his amazing stats. More people need to understand how instinctively he sees the field. It's uncanny. Montana-like, if you ask me. Yeah. And, when we look at some of this stuff, he's so calm. I mean, the people who are trying to discount Brock Purdy right now are just setting themselves up to look really stupid, because even when the middle of the line completely busts, as it does on this play with Feliciano allowing the immediate pressure to Leonard Williams, I mean, this is something that would sink 90 to 95% of NFL quarterbacks right away. And there's no shame in that. Pressure right up the middle is no joke. Pressure right up the middle is what detonates almost every NFL QB. But Purdy just calmly escapes, and he still puts this ball in the money to deliver a big play. I mean, it is so, so impressive from Brock Purdy, what you're seeing right there. So he sees the field really well from a clean pocket. But let's be honest, this offensive line hasn't been great, and he's also able to see the field, keep his composure, and go for the big plays when things break down. And given the fact that the 49ers offensive line ranks number 28 in pass blocking grade, that's something that Purdy has to do. He has to be an absolute outlier. And guess what? He is a complete outlier. You could see it here. I keep on bringing this up because this is the one chart that truly illustrates how special Brock Purdy is. There's nobody in this portion of the chart with bad pass protection and top level efficiency. And his efficiency, not only top level, is top level by a massive margin. You could see how high above Prescott and the rest of the QBs Brock Purdy is. This is a good point. It's crazy how well Jair Brown has filled in for Talanoa Hufanga. I mean, Jair Brown is a really, really instinctive football player, just like Talanoa Hufanga. They ran about the same 40-yard dash time, right? That's why the draft stocks of both players was not great, about a 4.6. But if you have the instincts and you have the work ethic to study ahead of time, to know which way you're going to break at the snap based on the formation, based on tendencies on the other side, well, then you can make up for that 40 time. And I just don't think that Jair Brown had a good day when he ran his 40, because I talked to some of Penn State's people and they were saying that he ran 21 miles an hour on the field according to their GPS tracking. So that's going to mean a whole lot more than a 40-yard dash at the combine. But Jair Brown, he's put together physically, put together mentally. The man is impressive, and he's still really young. The 49ers' two safeties of the future are obviously Jair Brown and Talanoa Hufanga. And I think Deshaun Gibson Sr. is a great mentor for both of them in that room. What are my thoughts on Philly's corners and secondary this season? Well, they had to sign or trade for Kevin Byard from the Titans because they weren't having it with their safeties. They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think that was a big loss for Philadelphia. So the coverage hasn't been as good as last year. They don't have the blitzing capabilities of C.J. Gardner-Johnson that they really benefited from last year. I think that, by extension, has hurt the productivity of the front. The 49ers didn't seem to have a lot of respect for Philly's corners, especially James Bradbury last year, based on what Deebo Samuel was talking. He was talking a lot of trash about Bradbury before and after the NFC Championship game. So I think the 49ers think they could win those matchups on the back end. Remember, Philadelphia this year is the number 17 defense by DVOA. 49ers are the number 1 offense by DVOA. It's a big gap, and I think that the 49ers can move the ball. Now, of course, if this is a rain game, and I think there is some precipitation in the forecast, that can make things a whole heck of a lot sloppier. That's going to be something to watch. But I think the 49ers do believe that they have the ability to beat this Philadelphia team through the air. Wow, we got a viewer in Prague. That's awesome. What time is it out there? 3 + 7, 10:06 p.m. Ahoy. Do you think the Niners front can get enough pressure on Hurts next week? I think they absolutely can. It's the most talented D-line the 49ers have probably ever had, with Chase Young and Nick Bosa in the depth. Now, the Eagles' offensive line might be the best in the game, so it's a titanic matchup. But if the 49ers lock down on the back end, as they've been doing here over the course of the past 3 games, that's going to give the 49ers defensive line time to win that battle. I thought the 49ers defense played well against Philly for most of the game last year. Obviously, they didn't have a quarterback. The 49ers didn't. So it was really hard for the defense to have anything to show for that. But they kept that game close for a while, and longer than it should have been. So they're better this year, the 49ers are. They've got more depth. They've got more star power up front. I think they're starting to figure out the coverages that Steve Wilkes has brought in. And obviously Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are overriding whatever they need to at the right times to have Charvarius Ward run his shadow game, his one-on-one game. So maybe they do that against A.J. Brown, and maybe that buys the 49ers defense enough time to win up front. Well, I mean, here's a prediction that the Eagles will win. But the 49ers need to show that they can win ugly. They need to get over that hump this year, right? I know Philadelphia has done it many times this year, but they haven't done it against a team as good as the 49ers. So at the end of the day, the Super Bowl this year is going to be determined not only by who's the strongest team, but who's the grittiest team. You want to be the strongest and the grittiest team. And right now, Philadelphia has the grittiness advantage over the 49ers, no doubt. But that can change on one afternoon. And the 49ers have failed in their gritty win opportunities, probably twice against Cleveland and then against Minnesota. But both times there were decent reasons for it, right? Jake Moody missed a kick once, so the 49ers hope that gets better. He was a rookie. That was at Cleveland. And then Brock Purdy suffered a concussion against Minnesota in a game where they had a lot of star power hurt. So can the healthy 49ers win a gritty game? I think that if you are a betting person, it might not be smart to bet against them being able to do so healthy, since they're winning games by an average of 20 when they're healthy, which, you know, that's a better indication that they can win a close game than losing games by 20 or losing these eight games that they've won this year. So the 49ers will have their chance to prove their mettle, prove their grittiness. It's going to be coming in Philadelphia, and it looks like they're going to be relatively healthy for that football game. Yes, like and subscribe. Do I think that Ward will be on A.J. Brown all game? I'm not sure how they're going to play it. I'm really not. Philadelphia is a different type of offense. You also have to account for the running quarterback. If you play too much man against Jalen Hurts, he's going to take off and kill you with his legs. So I think there's going to have to be a little bit more zone. The reason for that is if you're playing zone, you're facing the QB. So you could keep an eye on him in case he takes off. If you're playing man exclusively, the Eagles can just clear you out with all their receivers. Your back is going to be to Hurts, and then he could take off and run. In many cases, all he'll have to do is beat a linebacker. Good news for the 49ers is their linebackers are fast, but I still think that you can't play straight man all game. You're going to have to mix your coverages really effectively against Philadelphia. So let me look up the forecast for Philadelphia. We're about a week out at this point, so it's not going to be the most accurate forecast, but it's a forecast. And we can start to project what the 49ers may have to deal with. They're saying a 45% chance of rain on Sunday, PM showers right now, but I mean, it's still too far away to say morning versus afternoon. It's going to be fairly dry, it looks like, all week in Philly up until the weekend, up until Saturday and Sunday. So we will see. I mean, I'm sure this will crystallize over the next few days. I think that anybody I think the 49ers have a more efficient, better team than the Eagles this year. So you'd rather have dry weather. You don't want to have that added wrinkle, but either way, you're going to have to find a way to win this football game, regardless of what the conditions are. It's going to be a man's war out there in Philadelphia. Do I think the 49ers will go undefeated in the division? Yeah, I think they're not going to lose in the NFC West. The Seahawks are the second best team, and they're not in the 49ers weight class. But the number one seed is not going to be about the division. It's going to be about beating Philadelphia on the road, and then the 49ers need some help on top of that. Now, remember, the Eagles play the Bills tomorrow, and then they play the Dallas Cowboys the week after the 49ers. So chances are that the 49ers are going to get another loss from the Eagles. But the 49ers have to deliver their own loss to the Eagles. They have to get that win in Philadelphia this next week for that to matter. Jeff thinks the 49ers defensive line needs a cool nickname. 15 sacks in 3 games since they've picked up Chase Young. Unfortunately for Chase and for Nick Bosa, the Buckeye bookend, their Buckeyes just lost to Michigan. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but you guys could think of a nickname. Drop your ideas in the comment section. I don't think the 49ers always get smoked on screens. Their efficiency defensively against screens is about mid-range, about number 15 or 16 in the NFL. And Armstead made a great stop against the Seattle screen this last game. The Seahawks weren't able to generate much success on the screen pass game. So I think that there are indications that that is improving for the 49ers. Will Brock Purdy ever get his credit from the media? Well, you hear me giving Brock Purdy plenty of credit. I mean, we're talking about Purdy here. We're talking about his elite burst on this show. And I do think that more will follow suit if he goes into Philadelphia and helps lead a 49ers win. But, I mean, this is what I led the show with. Brock Purdy has got the same 10-yard burst as Lamar Jackson. Look at him get away from Leonard Williams here. One of probably only 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league who has the athleticism to get away from an interior rusher and then the arm strength to throw a pass like that, 35 yards, accurate to George Kittle. Good play by Seattle to force him out. But Purdy, plus athleticism, I would say elite athleticism in a 10-yard box, and plus arm strength. He's got both of them. There's a reason he's the top quarterback in the NFL so far this season. Those of you joining, Harbaugh Day, even though he wasn't there, his suspension is done. Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines, congratulations on their win over Ohio State. It is also the Black Friday sale, $1 a month. This right here is in the description, so you can go ahead and check it out. Purdy, McCaffrey, the work behind the scenes. I think that is one of the pieces that you want to see. We're at 23 minutes, going on 24 minutes. McCaffrey's number 23, the Jordan number. 24, what are we at? Jordan Mason? Yeah, I think that's good. All right, everybody, thanks for joining. It's been fun. Hope you enjoyed a little look into the athleticism of Purdy and Darrell Luter Jr. We can watch Luter one more time because the 49ers are going to need that little burst on special teams. This guy coming from the far right, all white uniform. This was one of the more impressive displays of athleticism that you'll see on an NFL field. And the 49ers need that juice now that George Odom is out for their special teams unit. Everybody have a good rest of your Saturday afternoon.